Hi, I'm Janelle from Blue Toro, and today I'm going to share with you our top 5 mistakes that we see auto workshops make when buying parts. Now, mistake number 1 is spending way too much time shopping around. I've seen workshops that have 5 screens open at a time with 5 different websites of 5 different suppliers, and they're spending so much time just comparing every dollar and every part for every job. Even worse still are those workshops that are actually ringing around for that. So think about it, for every 5 minutes or every half an hour that you're spending running around to save a few dollars here and a few dollars there, that's money that you're not charging out. So it becomes counterproductive. So what we always suggest is you rely on your top 2 or 3 suppliers and really understand what their strengths are per category. Some are better at cooling, some are better at filters, but know your local suppliers and what they're best at from a price point of view and rely on those. And what you find over time is because you're showing loyalty and because you're spending more money with one supplier or a couple of suppliers, it puts you in a really good position to negotiate better pricing down the track. Now, this is a big one. The number 2 mistake we see workshops make is they mark up on cost, not on retail. Now, think about it. If you've actually negotiated a better price on your parts, then the margin you're getting on that is actually reduced further because you're marking up on your cost. So any savings that you're getting, you're actually passing on those savings to your customer. You're not putting that back into your pocket. Now, every other industry is based on retail. Why wouldn't you charge on retail? Retail is a recommended retail. Now, that can vary from store to store, but what we always recommend is you charge based on retail and then put a markup. So that markup can be justified by the fact that you're taking the risk, you're holding the stock, you're doing the running around, you're picking up the parts. So we recommend anywhere between 10 and 30% is typical, and it's the average that you'll see right across the country. That's on top of retail, not on cost. So if I can make one suggestion that you make today in your business, if you're charging based on cost, switch that now and you'll see a profit overnight. The number 3 mistake we see workshops make is going too cheap. Now, I don't mean about pricing, I mean about the parts that you pick. So there's reputable parts suppliers and parts manufacturers. We know who they are. They're recommended by different manufacturers. They're part of the warranty program. It's what fleet companies will accept. But there's also the really cheap ones on the market, and we know we get what we pay for. So the cheaper they are, they don't last as long, the wear and tear. And in the long run, you and the customer end up spending a whole bunch more because you're having to replace the parts more often. So the things you have to think about a warranty is that supplier you're buying the parts from going to warrant that product should it break, and what's the discussion you're going to have about who's going to pay for your labor to replace that part. So most customers, when they understand the difference, will always opt for the better quality because in the long run, it's better for their vehicle, and they end up spending a whole bunch less on repairs and servicing because they're not having to change over parts too often. So always stick with reputable parts suppliers in your area. The number 4 mistake workshops make is fitting customer supplied parts. Now, in fact, about a third of workshops have put up their hand to say they actually do that. And the reason customers will bring their own parts, obviously, is they want to save some money. So they might shop around, they might buy something off eBay, and they just want to save a few dollars there. So think about it this way. If somebody is bringing in their own part, who's going to warrant that? Who's going to warrant not just the part, but also the labor attached to it? And you've got to consider your insurance as well. If something really does go wrong, will your insurance company pay out if it's a supplied customer part? And you just don't know what the customer is going to, you don't know where they've got it from, you don't know if it's the right part. So it's all sorts of dramas attached with that. And think about it this way. Would you take your own meat into a restaurant and ask them to cook it? And the 5th mistake we see workshops make is not shopping around. Now, I know I said shopping around too much, but in fact, not shopping around at all is not a great thing. So if you were using a parts supplier many years ago and you switched because of the service, or you thought they were too expensive, and you haven't actually shopped around for some time, you don't know what's changed in the market. Things are changing all the time. You might find that the service has improved, staff members have changed, or the parts pricing, in fact, has changed quite a bit. So we always recommend doing a bit of a sanity check, even if that's once a year, just knowing who the local suppliers are in your area and who is best at what category. So it's not always a one size fit all. It might be that certain suppliers have better pricing per category in different areas. So definitely worth noting who's the best in your area and checking in on that on a regular basis. And the other thing that gets caught up in this is having a relationship with somebody within that store. It could be the manager, it could be the local area manager, where they've told you that you're getting the best pricing possible. Now, we don't want to dispute that at all, but don't take it as gospel either. It's always worth shopping around. I'm Janelle from Blue Toro, and they've been my top 5 tips on how to better buy parts and price parts. And I just want to leave you with this, the concept of national group buying power. Now, I think everyone understands that concept, but what if you could be part of that national group and gain buying power and leverage that to save even further on your parts? Now, we hear from workshops every day, I've got the best parts price. But do you really? And when's the last time you've checked that? So I guess I'd encourage workshops out there just to make some comparisons, check in on pricing, give us a call and see whether we can help you save a whole bunch of money on your parts today.